All right, everybody take your seats and welcome back for more Explore Tulsa.
Now, Stevie, do you have any veterans in your family?
Yep, my dad and my father-in-law, both in the Navy, and one of my nephews followed in their footsteps. He's stationed in Hawaii.
For several veterans, their return home can be a little rough.
So Dave Berlin has made it his mission to help those men and women find the assistance they need with Discharge to Incharge.
As we slowly start to close up a lot of those conflicts in the Middle East, for the most part, everybody is returning home. I know that there's different things going on and there's always going to be a certain number of people going out, but I feel like we have the most veterans home right now, and the majority of those veterans are trying to find their way through their transition. I was a Marine in the Marine Corps Infantry. I served out of Camp Pendleton, 1st Battalion, 1st Marine. Some of the things that people before me struggled with as they got out were very, very basic, and that was trying to find a job, trying to figure out how their military skill sets would adapt into the civilian workforce. So Discharge to Incharge actually started as my personal journey as I was transitioning from the service into civilian life. You know, I got out in 2003, and since that time I've worked a number of different jobs. I worked for the state of Oklahoma, worked with kids at Thunderbird Youth Academy, and along the way I started to meet more veterans, all of which were struggling or winning in their own transition. And it really just started to come to life as how do we, lock arms together and help other veterans. As I continued to grow in my transition, as I did become more confident and start reaching out on a bigger level to just really find a way to connect with the world, I kept coming across more and more veterans. And as I came across more veterans, I saw some that were winning and I saw some that were struggling. And I started to see the same sort of tone as to what veterans were struggling with. And the idea of Discharge to Incharge came from asking people that question. I kept getting the same word over and over and over, and that's purpose. They come from a background where they had this purpose, this place that they were supposed to be, this thing they were in charge of, something that really had meaning, and then they come home and people don't understand what that is, and it almost feels like they're robbed of that. So how do I help them discover that? I do speaking events, I do fundraising events, I try and be out in the public so I can inspire other veterans, and people connect with me in a ton of different ways. I'm working on an online summit that's going to help leverage different expert veterans in their field of education, employment, and entrepreneurship, and help get more people connected to those resources. It does fill the heart bucket for me to help people, but in that, as an entrepreneur, it also is very challenging, and sometimes it completely empties the bank account. So trying to find a healthy balance of how can I still bring value to organizations and help them understand the power of veterans, whether it be consultants or freelancers or even veteran employees, and how can I monetize that to continue to fund the pursuit? Whatever you're going through, somebody else has went through the same thing. So use that power of your network to know what you should do, where you should go. Some people that you don't even know are veterans, and they know what you're going through and they can help, but they can't help if you don't ask. At the end of the day, you have the resources out there to be successful, but that's your job now, is how do you find those resources and how do you share those with other veterans that come behind you?